Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I try to help you spend your wine dollars wisely and I try to help you learn something about wine. Hopefully you're getting that from this program. I would like some comments, especially from my friends, Matthew, Scott, Gabriel. Make a comment. See what that does. Now here's why I want you to comment. What that does is it shows people that people are watching. And you know, my viewership isn't great. We're on episode 211. You would think it would be better, but it's not. So and that's partly my fault, my bad, because you know I need to get these videos out there for people to look at. I wouldn't call it a fan base, but my friend base here on the island is small. I mean, I have a lot of friends. I'm not saying I don't have a lot of friends, but it's a small island. I don't have the big group of people coming in. I try to promote my program from the store level, but Matthew, Scott, Gabriel, you guys, the other guy, you know who I'm talking about, make a comment. Criticize me. I don't care. I've got thick skin. I am not going to punish you for not liking my videos. The only way I'm going to get better is for people to make comments, to give advice. Don't just come in the store. Don't just come in the store and tell me what you think. You've done that many times and I appreciate that. I do. I really do. Brian, make a comment. You know, I'm not going to improve and these shows are not going to get stronger unless you guys come out of the woodwork and make some comments. I'd really appreciate it. I really would. Today we're going to do three different whites that perhaps you do not pursue as a wine drinker. And I say that because number one wine in the United States, number one white wine, do you know what it is? Do you know? It's Chardonnay. Then you have Pinot Gris, second place. Third place, Moscato. Fourth place, Sauvignon Blanc. So the top four dogs are obvious, I think, to all of you. I think a lot of you, maybe you don't drink Moscato because you don't like the sweet stuff, but that has really become popular in the United States. I don't know how long that trend's going to last. I would like to see Sauvignon Blanc leap ahead of Moscato, just showing me that the wine drinkers are trying something new. Pinot Gris is hanging in there at number 2. Riesling is probably in the top 10 easily. Riesling is up there. Anyway, the point is that there's many whites out there that are very good that people just do not gravitate towards. The first one we're going to look at is Chenin Blanc. And again, once again, Chenin Blanc is one of those varietals that was abused a long time ago. Franzia, Gallo, Almaden, they did a Chablis. No, they did Chenin Blanc. And it didn't necessarily live up to the hype. I guess maybe I'm thinking of Chablis. But anyway, Chenin was in there, and it used to be, you know, Washington State did a ton of Chenin Blanc. They don't do it so much anymore. But South Africa has been doing Chenin Blanc for a long time, and this is one from Stellenbosch. It's called Well-Mode Chenin Blanc. Now this is, you know, what makes the wine world interesting, but at the same time mysterious for a lot of people, is the many names that Chenin Blanc is called. In South Africa, they also call it Steed. In the Loire Valley, it's known as Sauvignon and Vouvray. Both of those are Chenin Blanc. And so a lot of wine drinkers are kind of like, you know, I have a lot of people come in the store and ask for Chenin Blanc, and I lead them over to Vouvray, and they go, is that Chenin Blanc? You go, yeah, it's Chenin Blanc, really it is. Or Sauvignons, which is a really drier style. I love Sauvignons. I don't actually have one in the store right now. That will change. But this is Well-Mode Sauvignon Blanc, or Chenin Blanc from South Africa, in particular Stellenbosch. And like I said, they call it Steen. Did I say Steed or Steen? It's called Steen also. So if you see that, you know you're drinking Chenin Blanc. There's the label. This rolls in at $10. The beauty of Chenin Blanc is it has so many different styles. It can be a little on the sweet side. It's got good acidity and good fruit, depending on the style of the winemaker. But I find that most of them, not all of them, but most of them are drier. So let's give this one a whirl. I'm really excited about the Seahawks, by the way. They got Jimmy Graham. As you well know, all you Seahawk fans there know, we got Jimmy Graham. Things are going full boat. I'm looking for Baldwin to have a great season because of Jimmy Graham. Got Lockett, another Lockett. We have 2 Locketts on the team. Very excited about that. I expect Christian Michaels to start really getting a role in the running back position, I hope. He's very quick. Really excited about him. And glad that Marshawn Lynch re-signed. We'll see how that rolls. It's unfortunate that running backs' lifespan is not as long as it should be. But, I mean, they get beat up. But Marshawn Lynch is in excellent shape. Looking forward to it. Let's see what we get on the nose with this Chenin Blanc from South Africa. Little kind of chalky, sort of like seashell-y, old stuff, like it's been in the ground for a long time. Getting just a little bit of roundness. A little bit of like ripe apples, like Fuji or, Fuji apples. Not that you have to get that specific. And this is one of those things that with wine tasting notes that I sort of take an exception to, although sometimes because I eat a lot of apples, you get that sense of what, apples do have different characteristics. Granny Smith, obviously, from Red Delicious, huge difference. But, apple suffices, although I do have to say you have to go on the red side versus green side many times. Get a little bit of wooliness, and that's one of the characteristics of Chenin Blanc. It gets that, like, wet wool, and a lot of us have not worn a wool sweater. I know my mom my uncle or grandmother used to always seem to give us a wool sweater, and we had to wear it to church. And I always remember the smell of it when it rained on the wool sweater. And that's really what you're getting out of the Chenin Blanc many times. Not always, but in this case I'm getting that. I'm also getting a little bit of mango and papaya. Let's see what we get on the palate. The apple notes come through right away. There's a little bit of minerality to this, which I really like. Good acid right on the backside. Finishes, it gets a little bit of a limey thing going on, but I get a little peach skin, I get a little mango, a little bit of papaya. Very strong minerality now. It's kind of lingering, which is really cool. You always like a wine that hangs onto the palate. That's a real indicator of a good quality wine. Even at $10, you can have wines of that quality. There's one critic I follow a lot, and I don't want to be negative, but it seems like the only time he gives a wine a good score or grade is if it's an expensive wine. It seems like if it's under $20, they're always, a lower score. And I just don't see that as a... I know that more expensive wines have, they use newer oak, they have better fruit, more expensive fruit, not always better, but more expensive fruit. A lot more technology goes into those wines. But, some producers can do a really nice job for a lot less money. And you got to look at wine in the sense of what, how is a consumer going to appreciate that wine? And that's really where I come from. Is this wine good enough that the consumer is going to think he's getting a good bang for his buck? And that's really where I come from. And I think this is a good bang for the buck. The Chenin Blanc from South Africa for $10 is a beautiful wine. Little grassiness, crushed rock. The fruit comes through, the acid comes through, nice balance. I like this wine. It would be great with shellfish. It would be great with salads. It would be great on the back deck on a warm summer day. It's just a great bottle of wine. I'm going to go B+. I really like that wine. For $10, it is a steal. Now, I'm going to move on to a local winery, Lopez Island Vineyards. Lopez is the first island you hit. You come from Anacortes, which is the, it's an island also, Fidalgo Island. But it's connected with a bridge, so it doesn't appear to be an island. And then you take a ferry you hit Lopez, Orcas, Shaw, Friday Harbor. That's how the ferry runs many times. Sometimes it goes directly from Anacortes to Friday Harbor, San Juan Island. Freddie Harbor's where it lands. That's the town I live in. They recently changed their label and they put LIV on the front. This is their Siegerrebe, which is very 2014, which is planted a lot in Germany, but also in Washington State, because it's one of the few wines on the western side of the Cascades that can grow to maturity and ripen. Siegerrebe is a cross between Gewürztraminer and Madeleine Angevine. You probably never heard of Madeleine Angevine, but they also grow a lot of that here on this side, the west side of the Cascades, in Washington State. Now, recently Lopez Island Vineyard changed their label. Sorry about the writing on the front. This is Puget Sound appellation, which is fairly recent. It's been just a few years in the making. So anyway, LIV they put on the front. Now, just a quick lesson in label changing, and I hope the owners of, or the managers of Lopez Island Vineyard are listening. If you're going to do an acronym like that, on the front of the label, put a dot after L, put a dot after I, put a dot after V. That way people know it stands for something. It just looks like Liv. What is Steven Tyler's daughter now in the winemaking business? I don't think she would do a label like this. It's an okay label. I mean, I don't mind the label, but do something to let people know that it stands for something. Actually, at King's Market, where I work in Freddie Harbor, downtown Freddie Harbor, they changed the label. Sales tanked. It wasn't because of the wine. People did not recognize what it stood for. And when you're trying to sell local wine in the San Juan Islands, you better let people know that this is from Lopez Island. I made my case. That's enough of that. So they're very excited about this 2014 Siegerrebe. I love saying that. San Juan Vineyards does an excellent Zieg. My friend's just up the road, Chris Premise. This is Brent. I like Brent a lot. Really cool guy, just laid back, big time. Let's see what we get on the nose. Woo! That's what I love about Zieg is it's got, you know, it's got Gewürzt as a parent, so it's very floral on the nose. Get grapefruit right off the bat. Grapefruit, white flowers. Get a little pine element, like, you know, pine needles coming through. Really, a little bit of mango and lime, which I really like. This is a very interesting nose. So I get pine, mango, lime, grapefruit, all in one sniff. Yeah, very fresh. The pine isn't strong, not like pine sol. Don't get confused there. Just like, you know, that whiff of pine or fir needles that come through the air when you're near a tree like that. That's what I'm getting. A little bit of lemon pith coming through. Let's see what we get on the palate. This is like a papaya mango cocktail. It's beautiful. By the way, it's $22, I think. I say I think because I think they might have jacked it up to 24. I think it might be 24 bucks. I took a wild guess at it. But anyway, I think it's around 24 bucks, $22 to $24. But man, this is like somebody whipped up some mango and lime and papaya all together in one glass. And it's dry. It's not sweet. Don't get me wrong. It just has those flavor profiles. I'm getting a little mandarin orange coming through on the mid palate. Nice dry finish. This is a beauty. I can see why they're proud of it. It's a very good wine. It has a ton of flavor, but it's nice and dry. Not super dry, not bone dry like a muscadet or anything like that. But it finishes dry. You could have this with oysters. You could have this with clams. You could have it with mussels, which is beautiful for the Pacific Northwest. That's what we do in a big way. You could also have it with halibut. You could have it with crab. You could have it with lobster. You know, it has that quality to it. But it also is it'd be really good with Asian food. Maybe just a little spice, not too much. maybe a little bit of curry, wouldn't hurt it at all. This is a good wine. I'm liking it. Interesting little froth on the glass, which I don't get in the palate. Very nice effort by my homies over on Lopez. I think this might be one of the better ones I've tasted from them. Good job, Brent. You did good with this. I'm going to go A-. I think it's I might go A-. A-. Very nicely done. I like it a lot. You know what's really cool about this wine too is while you're drinking it, you get that mango, mandarin, papaya, lime thing going on, but you also get that little pine action on the nose. You can't bypass it. It just hits you right off the bat. Nice effort. I hope you guys sell out of this. It is well worth the purchase. I'm glad I got to try it. We're moving on now to another. So, if you're watching from the East Coast, you know, somewhere over there, hopefully you guys get a chance to try Siegerrebe. We just call it Sieg for short. Make it easy on yourself. Just call it Sieg. If you can find one, if you can, you know, go to Lopez Island Vineyard's website. I'm sure they have one. I know they do. Order some. Get some in your pods. Go to San Juan Vineyards. They do a good Sieg also. Excellent Sieg. Seek them out. Let me show you the label one more time. I think you should try it. I really do. It's one of those things that I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't like, but you see how it's spelled there? I'll put it on the bottom of the video too, also, so you can see how it's spelled. You can look it up. You can find a producer. I would suggest San Juan Vineyards or Lopez Island Vineyards, but there's also Whidbey Island Vineyards does a pretty good Sieg also. Let's move on to another varietal that many people, now some people thought this would really take off. It's kind of sputtered, hit and miss. I'm getting more interest in it. This is Torrontes from Argentina. This is 2014. It's called Reunion, and it's from the area of Argentina that produces the best Torrontes, and that's Salta in Argentina. This rolls in at $13. And thank you, by the way, Matthew, for putting the price on the back so I don't have to search through the catalogs looking for it. I really appreciate that. When you're doing programs like this, you're writing in your moleskin, you're doing all that, it's really nice to have that on the back. Don't write all over the front. Just saying, Debbie, don't write all over the front. There's no need to. I bet these guys love it when I call them out on this stuff. It's okay. I'm not being super critical. I'm just saying, you know, I remember San Juan Vineyards, Chris had written all over the front of them, and Yvonne, the owner, said, Stan, when you do a video, let me know. I'll get you some clean labels. It was okay. It's the human element. I love it. That's what this show is all about. It's kind of cool. You know, they write it that way because, you know, I'm taking it out of the store. They don't want, you know, the owner or the manager to think I'm just lifting it, which they don't, but that's why they do that. They just want to make it clear that it's a sample. They don't want me to resell it. Heaven forbid that I put it on the shelf and sell it, a sample. Anyway, you get the point. I mean, that's why they do it, but it's kind of funny. I like it. It makes the show interesting now, doesn't it? Almost a salty element on this Torrontes. I get a little banana coming through. Whetstone, for sure. A backdrop of like tangerine, I get big time. A little bit of almost like a cantaloupe, but not quite cantaloupe, like a melancope. Melanope, like melon and cantaloupe together. Hey, maybe they could do a melanope. Wonder how that would work. Anyway. A lot of white flowers. I get like a little bit of orange blossom, sort of white flowers coming through. Let's see what we get on the palate. So Torrontes is a really nice white from Argentina. Some get a little bit heavy. I almost got them like Vaseline characteristic to them. I think that turns people off at first. Some people like that. It's cool. That's great. But a lot of them are fresher than that, and that's the ones that I really try to focus on at the store so people can be introduced to Torrontes. It's sort of the Argentinian version of Viognier. That's kind of the way I put it. You know, that could be debatable. It has a really curious, like, saline element to it, which I like. It's very full on the palate, but at the same time it finishes dry, lingering around big time. It reminds me of, you mash some bananas, you put a little almonds in there, you crunch those up, you put a little bit of mango, you put a little papaya, you put a little banana in there, you kind of mixed it all up, but it's got that nutty element to it, which kind of, you know, softens those fruit tones to where they kind of buried underneath that kind of almond walnut characteristic that's coming through with a little bit of a dash of salt. Not a lot of people are going to be interested, not a lot of people are going to like this wine because they don't understand what's coming through. A lot of people just like, you know, they like their Pinot Grigio, they like their Chardonnay, they like their Sauvignon Blanc. It's easy, you know, they don't have to think about it. This has a lot to think about. And that's why I encourage you guys to expand your palates. Just think about it. Think about what you're getting. This is a great bottle of wine. Nice, clean, get a little citrus coming through on the finish. The cool thing about this wine is you could have this with a bowl of mixed nuts and it would be wonderful. You could have this with a salad, you know, be wonderful. Especially the salad maybe had a little, this would be great with, if you had a little sardines, not obviously, I'm not a big sardine guy, but this would match up nicely with that. It'd be really good with oysters because the saltiness of this wine with those oysters or clams or mussels would be beautiful. That's what you're looking for when you're matching food and wine. What characteristics? Is it going to overpower it? No, it's not going to overpower it. It has a nice dry finish. Is it going to match it? Yes, it's going to match those things. It's a great bottle of wine for food. Now, if you're just sitting out on the back deck, you just want to enjoy a glass of it, pick your Pinot Grigio, knock yourself out. That's great. That's what you're looking for. But if you're looking for a good wine for food. I got stuck on stupid there for a minute. And if you're looking for a wine that makes you think, this wine is a thinking man's white. I love it. Reunion, Salta, Argentina. I'm going to go A-. I think it's a great bottle of wine. I think it's a great example of Torrontes without getting too heavy in the mouth. Nice fresh finish, nice complexity, nice flow across the palate. I would go A, except the saltiness. No, I'm going to go A-. I'm sticking to that. I love it. Thanks for watching. And remember, wine is not a mystery. It is just fermented grape juice. Drink it, enjoy it, be willing to try new things. Don't get stuck in a rut. Try a Torrontes, try a Zieg, try a Chenin Blanc, and after you try it, make your decision whether you like it or not. But, you know, like my mom always said, don't say you don't like it unless you tried it. But never, ever, ever let anyone tell you what you should or shouldn't like, and if you do that together, we can take the snob out of wine.